So yesterday we of course talked about Emiru's horrible experience at TwitchCon where she got assaulted by some complete creep, complete freakazoid of a person. And you know how terribly this reflected on Twitch and Twitch CEO Dan Clancy and the terrible statements that Twitch made to try and like damage control this. And then Emiru came forward with more information about how Twitch was doing, I was going to say next to nothing to protect her and to go after the dude who did this. But I think it'd be more accurate to say that they did nothing until Emiru actually, or Emiru's manager really pressed the issue. And then they finally did something apparently, according to the information that we have. So that was yesterday. Hopefully you saw my video on that or someone else's video. There's been a lot of great coverage from great channels out there. And today it's only getting worse for Twitch. So let's get started on the updates. Here we have Twitch CEO Dan Clancy getting asked why streamers should trust Twitch security after TwitchCon after what happened to Emiru. Well, the answer is, you clearly can't trust them, obviously. According to Emiru, they were even like laughing instead of catching the dude at first. So it's going to be pretty amusing to see how Dan Clancy is going to try and spin this.
Now, what happened yesterday obviously was something that we care deeply about, securing this environment. We're looking very closely at everything that happened there, and I care deeply about Emmy. She's a friend of mine, and so I want to see how we can support her. This is just something we have to keep working on. I think everyone identifies our tools in terms of trust and safety as the leaders in the industry about helping creators, but that means there's always more work to be done because that's the world we live in now.
Demi had posted earlier today that I guess this fan was allowed to cross multiple barriers at TwitchCon. Why should streamers trust Twitch to keep them safe at TwitchCon? Because I feel like simultaneously this has been such a secure event to the point that even like journalists have had struggled. It is very secure, but here's this man that just walks up and is somehow able to bypass all these things. So why should they trust the platform when slip-ups or, issues like this have happened?
Well, as you know, I think you toured some of what we do in terms of security. The reality is, even as you do a lot in terms of security in today's world, there are challenges that can present themselves, especially when someone is putting themselves out there. Right. And so, we try to work very closely with each creator about what they want to do and what works for them. Right. So I don't want to get into any, specifics or details, but part of that is working with creators and, trying to find them. Right now, we're definitely, ramping it up to make sure creators know that we have the resources there to help them figure out what's right for them.
So we got two wonderful people here. We got Twitch CEO Dan Clancy and disgraced journalist Taylor Lorenz, who has a terrible reputation. She's the sort of journalist who's like a large part of why people don't trust and dislike journalists nowadays, and that's been the case for a number of years now. And even the other day, she actually made her reputation even worse because she went on record making a video defending Hassan and completely misrepresenting the facts that people have about the abuse that Kai has been receiving. And she went on to say that all the people criticizing Hassan are essentially just crazy conspiracy theorists, I think is the way she put it. And she's actually framing this as, Twitch does do a lot for security. She actually stood up for Twitch in the middle of that clip. She's trying to say that it was a very secure event.
I feel like simultaneously this has been such a secure event to the point that even like journalists have had struggled. It is very secure.
Yeah, I'd love to know how she's defining secure event because from what we've seen, that doesn't look to be the case. And I totally get that a lot of security at events like this are volunteer. So for one, a lot of them are not getting paid or they're getting paid extremely low, if at all. And two, they're limited in what they can do by Twitch's policies. But that doesn't excuse Twitch and all their funding at an event this large from not having a bigger presence of actual hired professional security. They should have done that. It seemed like they didn't. And let me play this part back because I think this actually makes Dan Clancy look terrible.
Well, as you know, I think you toured some of what we do in terms of security. The reality is, even as you do a lot in terms of security in today's world, there are challenges that can present themselves, especially when someone is putting themselves out there.
So he fully acknowledges the danger of putting yourself out there, especially for a high-profile streamer like Emiru. And then what did they do to protect her? He acknowledges that. What did they do to protect her? Nothing. She had to have her own private security, who again was greatly limited in what they even allowed that guy to do. And they wouldn't even allow her to bring back her favorite security guard, as we've mentioned multiple times now. But it does bear repeating when this dude's actually sitting here saying that he understands the risks and they still treat her like this. For some more context about this interview, by the way, according to my recollection, Taylor actually had this scheduled with Dan Clancy to be like a general Twitch interview before the Emiru incident even occurred. And knowing these sort of journalists, I wouldn't be surprised if she's like actually happy about this incident, because now it makes her interview that much more compelling for people to actually watch. And maybe she's trying to like hide her gleeful smile behind that mask, and that's why she's wearing it. I say that in half jest, by the way, but like, no, I wouldn't be surprised if that actually was the case. Now, as for Dan Clancy, going back to him, he referred to Emiru as a friend, or even like a close friend. I think he was saying something like that. It just makes me think of that classic saying of like, who needs enemies when you have friends like these or whatever? Because like, if that's how he treats a close friend or even a friend, I mean, doing nothing to protect her and then taking no accountability at all, just deflection after deflection, it's really impressive how bad of a statement this all is from Dan Clancy. The next part of the interview that I'm going to show you actually came before the part that we just watched. It's what led into that part. So I really should have started with this, but yeah, I kind of messed up during recording, my bad, but just keep that in mind.
Obviously, we saw one Twitch streamer yesterday, Emiru, get assaulted by a male fan, and a lot of streamers have, especially female streamers, have talked about, you know, the danger that they feel from these sort of toxic, I guess, parasocial kind of creeps. What are you guys doing to prioritize safety? Because I know also a bunch of Twitch content creators said that they were too scared to even come to TwitchCon this year, just in case something like what happened yesterday would happen.
The safety of our creators is the top priority. The challenge we face is a challenge in today's society. It's not limited to Twitch. It extends throughout our society. I do think that when you're live streaming, in many ways, since you control your community and you can ban people, you can make it so that those people that you don't want engaging with you and participating with you aren't there. Okay, it's very different. You know, when I use other short form content and people say all sorts of stuff, well, I can't stop that. But when I live stream, they basically don't bother me.
So she asks about the concern that people have about coming to TwitchCon, a real live event, obviously, in-person event. And he starts talking about like banning people from your chat to like control your community. What does that have to do with a real in-person event and the dangers that people can face going to TwitchCon? I don't even understand what he's getting at here. Like, I'm almost getting a little bit of a headache trying to understand this logic. Obviously, everyone watching this video understands something that Dan Clancy apparently doesn't. Banning someone from your Twitch chat does nothing to stop that person from potentially taking action against you in real life. It's literally not the same thing at all. And while Dan Clancy is handling all of this terribly, we at least have some good updates here from Emiru.
Literally been stabbed yesterday. Literally, like... I have also seen people asking if I'm like taking any type of legal action. I am pressing charges against the guy with the police. As for anything else, I don't know yet because I've been having my manager handle all of those like side conversations. So
Yeah, so that guy's probably royally screwed. I mean, he's on camera assaulting her. She's going to press charges. He'll probably get sentenced. It seems like, what's this saying? All but a guarantee at this point. The next question, of course, is Emiru going to sue Twitch? We'll talk about that a little bit more. First, let's play the next clip.
I don't think that Twitch would have put out an official statement if that clip wasn't posted and going viral. And even after the fact that that clip was posted and going viral, as far as I know, the other people who had meet and greets today were not reached out to ask if they wanted extra security or if they even wanted to cancel their meet and greet. Like, maybe some people were, but I know for a fact Extra Emily wasn't. My personal manager made sure that she had extra security. No one reached out to her. Don't know about everyone, but I know that for a fact.
So we don't know for sure yet. And it sounds like her manager is really handling the majority of this stuff, and Emiru isn't too involved yet. But I don't blame her. This literally just happened. She's going to need some time to collect her thoughts. Maybe she's still in a bit of disbelief about all this. And very important to note, she's still at the event. So it's not like she's home yet, and she can like really, have like a relaxed environment to assess all this and come to a decision. She's still at the event. So when she is able to, I do hope she becomes a little bit more active and doesn't just like fully rely on the manager to handle the situation. But again, at this point in time, I totally get it. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. If she maybe ends up even hiring a lawyer, not to press litigation right away, but to just review potential causes of action to go after Twitch for. You know, there's a lot of ways that this can get handled. So we'll just have to wait and see for now.
But yeah, I really feel like there's a lot of key people that are responsible that need to be held accountable, because clearly there's been multiple points of failure for this to have even happened in the first place. And again, forgive me if I'm just rambling in circles. But I do also want to say, yeah, there's a lot of people that work at Twitch that are lovely, amazing, creative people. It's not them, but there's definitely multiple people that their failure allowed this to happen. Multiple people, for sure. I don't have any doubt about that, especially because of the fact that they flew out the global head of Amazon to talk to my manager and my security guard today.
That's actually really interesting. So many people, myself included, wonder, with all the like terrible stuff that Twitch has done, why Amazon doesn't seem to ever get involved and ever like take action to an extent against Twitch and like get them to act more professionally. I'm referring to things like their double standards, where they ban someone for like a mean word for weeks, but they let other streamers like promote actual terrorism and they promote that person. And the worst thing that ever happened to that person is they gave him like a 1-day ban on his time off. I'm of course referring to Hassan and my recollection of how Twitch has treated Hassan, disproportionately favoring him in comparison to other streamers. And the point is, as mentioned, so many people wonder, like, how has Amazon not done anything about this yet? And so it's very interesting to know that in this situation, one of Amazon's top executives is actually flying out to talk to Emiru about what happened. And that's just what we know from what they told Emiru too, and that she shared with us. Maybe that person's also going to grill Dan Clancy about this. Who knows?
But yeah, we're gonna do our show with Will and Baby No Money. We're gonna try to have fun. During it, I know a lot of you guys are still mad, but I'd prefer if we could just not talk about it, just like focus on the show. Yeah, I have to head over there in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, dude, like I said, I think she's handling it pretty dang well. For anyone who's not been to a major convention like this, it's stressful enough just to be an attendee. Like, there's so much that goes into it. From deciding, like, what your schedule is, if you need to get a hotel, the Uber back and forth, what you're going to do for food even is a bit complicated. These sort of events sometimes. Lines are crazy. Prices are super high. Everything's crazy, and that much more so when you're like also streaming and putting on an entire event, and then that gets, you know, give it the Kaioken times 100 multiplier when you freaking got assaulted, and now you got to deal with pressing charges, dealing with still even, you know, having the assault happen to you, and then maybe having to have a lawsuit on top. It's just so much stuff going on. So like I said, ultimately, I think Emiru is handling this really well, and I wish her the best, and what a freaking shame this had to happen. And on the topic of Amazon getting involved, I saw an interesting clip here from Yeet saying Asmongold says he really hopes Amazon is watching in his latest video about the Emiru/TwitchCon incident. And as we know, seems like they are. Let's see what Asmon's take is.
Honestly, like, I really hope somebody at Amazon is watching, because what I want you to understand is that the moderation team at Twitch is completely deranged, the advertising team is completely misguided, and the executive team is completely disconnected. At all levels of this organization, they fail. And we're in a situation now where it's gotten so bad that people's real lives and livelihoods are being affected by this. You can say that, oh, it doesn't matter, it's just words on a page or whatever, but when you have conventions, I think this is going to be the last TwitchCon, by the way. I cannot imagine anybody ever even thinking to go to another TwitchCon after this. This is it. And you have moderation that is so very obviously politically and socially motivated. I feel like they should just come out and say that they're sponsoring certain people, or maybe certain groups. I think one of those groups seems to be Hamas, unfortunately. And the truth is that I don't really see this getting any better until people actually start speaking out about it. And that's why I wanted to make this video and really explain the extent of how bad this is.
He's absolutely right. And he did bring up some more explicit stuff as well that I skipped over. But on the note about, like, if this is going to get better, it does seem like this would finally be the tipping point. Now that we know for sure a top executive at Amazon is getting involved here, it'll be very interesting and telling to see if things finally change now. And then on the note about people speaking out, Twitch streamers speaking out about the corruption at the platform and all that sort of thing. Well, this seems like a similar tipping point now. Like, Twitch is catching so much heat. This may give people the confidence to start speaking out more and more about their own experiences at Twitch and all that sort of thing as well. So, as mentioned, we'll have to see where it goes from here. And that'll be the end of the video, guys. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed my coverage, and I hope you're having a great weekend. Look forward to seeing you here in the comments and in the next one.